Holy smokes, friends. It is Friday. I cannot believe it. And I am so excited. I have someone here with us today that I am really excited to talk to. We connected through a mutual coaching group session, and it was crazy because our businesses are so parallel, and she's super fun. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicole Broadhurst. I'm the CEO of Tennessee Health Advocates, where we help busy, committed professionals take control of medical bills without the frustration of medical billing departments. So that's what we do there. But on Fridays, I like to hang out with my friends. And so I invite a friend to come join me and just have a cup of coffee and talk about who they are, what they're doing, and how they're impacting and changing the world. So today I have my friend. She is the CEO and founder of Compassionate Callers. And her story starts with a very, very personal experience with her dad. And so I'm going to have her share her story about what she found was missing and what the solution is for her. So please join me in welcoming my friend, Bina Colman with Compassionate Callers. Hey, Bina.
Hi, this is so
How are
fun.
you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. And before we get started, I want to personally thank you for showing up today. I want everybody to know that Bina doesn't really feel so great. And as entrepreneurs and patient advocates, we know that sometimes we have to push through and we show up in spite of ourselves. And so she's going to take a break and go get a nap just as soon as we're finished. So this particular live may be a little bit shorter. And I know everybody can appreciate that. So thank you so much for joining us today, Bina.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you for saying that. Yeah, I don't feel 100%, but yeah, I'm excited to be here, or I'm just so excited to talk to
Yay.
you and see all this
Fantastic.
live.
Yeah. So why don't you kind of tell us, I already know, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, about, how you got to where you are and why you founded Compassionate Callers.
Yeah. So, she's right. I have a personal story. My father was diagnosed with very early, like in his 50s, dementia, onset dementia, and he did pass right when he was about 64 or 65. So it was a long journey. He ended up living in a memory care facility here. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was just a long journey. I actually even have a gerontology degree. So I felt very connected to what he was going through and the processes me and my mom and my brother were dealing with. Besides what I was dealing with him, I actually was also working in the industry for home care sales, home health, and hospice. So I always sold those great products, and they are wonderful services, as we all know. But not everyone can afford the home care portion, or at least, maybe not all the hours that they need. And I always felt there was a big puzzle piece missing in this big thing we're all doing to keep seniors safe and secure.
Right.
And that's really how I came up with Compassionate Callers. I thought, while they may have caregivers in the home or family that has to leave the house at some time, go work or live their own life, right?
Right.
I could be that person that steps in and calls your loved ones for you. So, I can do meal
Wow.
reminders, medication reminders. Honestly, did your loved ones get up for the day? Did they go to bed?
Oh,
Did
wow.
they fall during the day and no one knows? Um, so these are things that
Wow.
compassionate callers can do. I can call up to 5 times a day, 7 days a
Wow.
week. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so, like I'm listening to this and I'm thinking about, my grandmother lived alone until she was like 92.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not want to move in with any of us. She did not want to give up that autonomy. And quite frankly, we didn't really want her to, right? Like there wasn't any particular need that would make it necessary. It was just that we were always really concerned about her because she was by herself. And some of us were, out of state and not nearby, couldn't necessarily drop by easily. And I'm thinking, wow, I this would have been something that would be great for that type of situation where, I can't get to her. So tell us a little bit more about who actually can benefit the most from these services with Compassionate Callers.
Yeah, so that's amazing about your grandma, by the way. My husband's grandma's 100 and she lives alone. Her daughter is in the same complex, but still she lives alone, and it's amazing. And you're right. A lot of people in their situation don't want to move in with their loved ones.
Right.
They want to stay put. And that's kind of where we jump in.
Yeah.
So we can offer, like I said, up to 5 times a day, 7 days a week. And then I offer other services as well.
Hmm.
But the people that can benefit are your aging loved ones. So that can be anyone, right? That could
Yeah.
be um, any age, really. And why I say that is because I also really would love to help the adult autistic world, where
Oh,
adults with
perfect.
autism who are high functioning, they live alone.
Right.
Their parents may worry, did they get home after work? Every parent's going to worry, but they may worry on a different level. And they're still adults who live alone and are high functioning and working. So they may not want their parents to call them every night. And that's again where
Right.
compassionate callers would step in, and we would call
Nice.
for their parents and just make sure they got home, they're good, they're going to eat dinner, they had a good day at work, whatever the case may be. So that's
Love
another
it.
the people that can really benefit. And I always
Right.
say too that if you don't hear from compassionate callers, it's sort of like ignorance is bliss. Your loved ones are good. And if you do hear from us, you're like, okay, what happened? They didn't pick up. What's our next steps? And we kind of move up forward from
Love
there.
it. I love that. I love that. So just out of curiosity, and in all fairness, this is like something that just came to my mind is,
Yeah.
do you have some sort of like working relationship with any kind of like emergency, like what does that look like if you're not able to get in touch with a client? Like,
No, it's a great
yeah.
question. So, every client, no matter what package they choose, will have an emergency plan or emergency protocol where I will call the first time, like I would anyways. If they don't pick up, I always wait 5 minutes. Your loved one could be in the restroom, they could be getting something
Yeah.
from the kitchen, whatever the case may be. I will call that second time. If they don't pick up that second time, that's when I go through the emergency protocol. And when you sign your loved ones up, you'll let me know, do you want me to call 911 first, or do you want me to call you first? Or would you want me to call another relative that may live closer? So we'll go
Ah,
through all that during the assessment. And
nice.
I always call that second time. That second time you don't pick up, that's when we start.
Perfect. Bina, you mentioned an assessment. So is that kind of like walk us through what that looks like as far as, okay, I have a loved one that I think could potentially utilize this service. We as a family want to explore that option. Like, now what do I do? Like, how do
Yeah,
I
no,
connect with you and what does that look like?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So, yes, if you would like to, you have a potential family member you think could use the service, we would go through an assessment. It's all over the phone or Zoom or however you guys want to meet, but really, it's to kind of figure out when those 5 calls should be made. I ask kind of questions like, when do they wake up? Usually, what time will they go to bed? What time are their medicines supposed to be taken? Meals. Are there anything you guys want me to remind them, like, oh, it's time for your daily walk, whatever the case may
Right.
be? It's so we can kind of plot out when those 5 calls per day will be. And then also,
Love
like, are they hard of hearing? Are they fall risk?
Mm,
Um, Not only am I there to be a resource, but I'm also there to give resources. So let's
love
say
it.
that they are a fall risk. You don't live in the same town as they do. I can say, hey, there's some durable medical equipment stores. Let me Google them in your area. Let's get some stuff in there to keep your loved ones safe.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Really good stuff. I think you're right. This is definitely something that, families and patients and advocates can all utilize these services to help better support aging in place, which is such an important piece of the continuum of care these days. I love that.
Yeah,
So
thank
I
you.
just have to ask you,
Yes.
do you happen to have like a favorite client success story that just epitomizes the best of what you offer for your clients?
Yeah, actually, I love this story because I think it really shows that I'm just not a threat to home care agencies. I actually have a client that I got from a home care agency because the caregiver goes in the morning and does their minimum hourly shift in the morning. The client is kind of at the point where they feel this is good enough hours at the moment to be with the client, but also what they can afford at the moment for the services. But then so I come in and I call at the night time when the caregiver is not there. You know,
Oh,
did you take your night medicine? Did you brush your teeth? Have you used your water pick? Did you eat dinner? I go through their whole day with them. What did you do today? How is your caregiver? And it's really nice because I'm working with that home care agency to check on the caregiver showed up, the caregiver was a good caregiver. And if it's not a caregiver the client likes, I actually report it to the home care agency. So I think it's a
nice.
lot of we work together very well, me and home care agency. So I always like that client example to show that I'm not a threat. Actually, I actually can even hopefully bring more hours to home care agencies.
Right?
Yeah.
What an amazing value add service this is all the way around, right? Which is, which is really what we focus on as independent advocates in the circle. And I love it. Surrounding patients with support. Like that's the whole tagline of what we're doing, which is one of the reasons that I felt like we connected
I
so well,
know.
right? Like
I
it's
know.
just really cool to see all
And
of
you
that going on.
you know I'm
So
such an advocate of you and what you're doing too, where I'm like, "Oh my
oh,
god, we're
thanks.
perfect."
I know,
Perfect for each
right?
other.
It really is fantastic. So, Bina, before I let you go here, how do people get in contact with you? Like, if there's an independent patient advocate in the audience today, or a patient, or a family member, or anyone that might be interested in exploring this option with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, thank you. So you can find me really on all the social platforms. On Instagram, it's really just at Compassionate Callers. Same thing with Facebook. And then my website is compassionatecallers.com. My
Wonderful.
email, my name's a little different, but it's Bina at compassionatecallers.com. So it's B like boy, INA. I'm readily available. I feel, I'm here so passionate, like you are, Nicole, about helping that
Yeah.
when people reach out, even if it's not for compassion callers, but they have another question about their elderly loved ones or aging loved ones, I love it. Like I feel very happy to give so many resources. So
I
reach
love
out with
it.
any questions you may have, and I'll be here.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, I know you don't feel well, but I feel like this was a really good opportunity for you to showcase the change and the help and the service that you're bringing to surround patients with more support. So, thank you so much. And if you're a patient or a family or an independent advocate who is interested in surrounding patients with support, connect with Bina. Connect with us in the circle at thepowerfulpatient.com. And as always, right here on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, you can absolutely connect with us that way as well. So thanks so much, Bina. You have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye,
You
guys.
too, Nicole. Bye, guys. Thank you for this.